Many Land Rover fans feel as though this is the best engine that's ever existed in a Land Rover, and it's going away, so if you want to get one, you gotta buy one now. The Land Rover of Lehigh is providing us with this 110 V8. This is a fully loaded bad boy version. I'll put a link to their website in the description down below. This one, by the way, currently available for sale. Powering this is a 5-liter supercharged V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic. Fuel economy is 14 around town, 18 on the highway, with power outputs being 518 horsepower and then 461 pound-feet of torque. And one of the biggest reasons why Land Rover people love this engine is, as long as you do the regular maintenancing on this, oil changes every 3,000 to 5,000 miles is what I recommend, it's a very reliable engine. If you're looking for more straight-to-the-point reviews like this, make sure you subscribe. Now, this being a fully loaded V8 has the center section all blacked out. You've got the darker gray for the Defender logo, and then you've got the kind of like stylized checker plates there. It's all blacked out around the headlight here at the bottom as well. There is some gray mixed in, and then we do have a large recovery point there at the bottom and some skid plate protection. And if you're wondering, it has a satin finish because it's got satin PPF all around. 275 by 45 by 22 for the tire and wheel setup. Brembo brakes with this version, and that's one of the coolest things about the V8. Now, one downside, the smallest wheel you can fit on this is going to be a 20-inch wheel because the larger rotors, calipers, and all of that. Air suspension on all 4 corners, independent suspension, by the way. And a lot of people in the off-road crowd talk crap on the Defender because it's unibody construction, but it's heavy-duty unibody construction, and so it is just as durable as the body on frame rigs. Now, when it comes to key fob features, we have our lock and unlock. You got the unlock for the swing gate. You can see there for the lights, turn them on, Land Rover logo on the back. And yes, this is one of the coolest things about the Defender. This is like the only unibody vehicle that offers something like this. It's just like a G-wagon, right? Storage here on the back panel. And then we've got our own climate zone for the rear. It's kind of for pets is their thought process. They actually have a depiction of the dog on the center screen. I'll show you guys later. But you got windows here in the back for lighting and then more up top as well. And then we actually pop over on this side. You notice for the suspension to raise and lower it. But yeah, the 110 is like the perfect balance of practicality, but then it's still a compact enough size to be good on the trails, right? It's not like the 130. And then closing this, pretty easy. And then look at the spare tire cover on the back. I think that's pretty neat looking. I'll give you guys a full view in a moment. Anyways, taillights here in the rear, and look at those exhaust tips. Those are probably the coolest part about the V8. Got the recovery points in the back too. And these V8 Defenders are no slouches when it comes to towing. It's around 8,000 pounds for the towing capacity, so it's very capable. Let's now take a look at the interior. By the way, keyless entry for the back. It's a regular glass for the windows, and then this is really nice with the trim, like the little handle too. The seats, perforated down the center. And then you have this trim here, I think it's called Resist if I remember right. It's like a very durable cloth. Getting in is very easy. And then you have great room. Again, this is similar in size to a Wrangler in terms of the length, but you have way more space than you'd think. And then you notice vents in the back. We have our own climate zone. Let's see if it's heated and ventilated, or if it's just, it looks like it's just heated for the seats. So, USB ports. And then of course with the boxy design, you've got tons of headroom. Keyless entry for up front, and let's check that out. Blind spot monitoring for up front. Regular glass again. This is, again, really nice with all the trim. All of our window controls, memory seats, your door lock and unlock, a couple speakers for the Meridian sound system. And I'm still going to show the payload even though 825, I literally think it's standardized with the payloads. I think that the Defenders have more payload, and everyone says, oh, it's the coil spring version. I ain't buying it. Anyways, front seats, look at that. More of that Resist trim on the side, power adjustments and everything, and then a nice trim on the dash. Take a look at the steering wheel. Got soft touch all around, paddles on the back. On the front face, practical controls for like the heated steering wheel, your adaptive cruise, and stitching on the airbag cover. Regular stocks there on the back, and then we do have a full digital cluster. You can change between like a single dial, double dial, somewhat customizable. And then you do have a heads-up display with this. 360 camera, and like other Defenders, you got an off-road view, and this is going to come standard with the rear diff lock. All the Defenders will have a center diff lock. It's all automatic, so you don't have to do anything yourself. But yeah, quick response time, and let me show you guys that little climate tab I was telling you about. This little depiction of the doggy there. So I think it's a fun little Easter egg. Got the shifter down below, and then physical controls. So like the climate controls double down as the ventilated heated seat controls. Also for the fan speed, and even for the drive mode selects, you have separate buttons for the height adjustable air suspension. You got hill descent, and then your low range Again, it's a unibody vehicle, but it has a 2-speed transfer case. Plenty of storage up front, got the cup holders, the new slanted phone charging pad, cool box, center console, soft touch where you're gonna actually rest your arm, and then there's more in the grab handle area, and there's storage there too, which is nice. We do have a camera rear view mirror, and then again, fancy headliner. Now this does come at a cost. So again, this is a V8, so it's the bad boy version. Starting price is already $118K. This one has a few options added to it, like the matte PPF, that's the most expensive option. $132,086. Let's take it out and see how it performs. V8 Defender. Now I just want to quickly note, I'm using this driving clip for the V8 Defender review and then also for the Octa comparison, just so that we're all on the same page. And you know what? I'm just going to say this right now, since this is the Defender video. Right now, in my opinion, is the best time to buy a Defender. And here's the thing that I think is somewhat unfortunate for Land Rover as a brand. They release a new car, and just like everyone else that releases a new car, they have, you know, problems with the new car. And over the course of the production run of that car, they go and iron things out and fix things and make them better. The Defender is no different, right? A 2020 Defender versus this is a 2026 is, you know, objectively inferior in a lot of ways, right? There's a lot of similarities, but they have improved the vehicle. Like, one simple thing is the phone charging pad is slanted down so it actually holds your phone. Good example. And reliability is a big thing. The biggest problem with the Defender is actually not the powertrains. The 2-liter 4-cylinder, not a great powertrain, but the inline 6 and the V8's good powertrains is the electronics, and they've sorted all of that out. I have not had any like electronic glitches or anything with these newer Defenders, the 25s and above. So sort of things out. But the problem is, because everyone's always like, especially in the luxury market, they're always wanting to buy the newest, you know, the new hype thing. People have kind of forgotten. And so it's like, if you get a Defender today, a brand new one, you'll have a great ownership experience. But it's like, oh no, I'm gonna wait for the new generation Defender, or I'm gonna get the new Mercedes or the new Audi. It's like, man, you're missing out. If luxury car buyers bought like the 3rd or 4th year in on a car versus the 1st year, their ownership experiences would be so much better. So just something to think about. There's plenty of Defender inventory. They've built quite a few of them, and so there's lots of options to choose from. But the V8, they are going to be getting rid of this. 27 is not going to have the 5-liter V8. And you know what? Even though this has a little bit more horsepower than the V8 that I just reviewed the other week, talking about the same topic, but with the regular V8, the X Dynamic, this engine, to me, as bad as this sounds, isn't really impressive anymore. I really liked this engine with the previous gen Land Rovers because it, like, power-wise compared to the competition, impressive, and it still sounds fantastic to this day. But things have moved on, in my opinion, in the luxury world. I don't really think being like loud and shouting everything is fully necessary. Now, I think it's cool. I think it's enjoyable. The sound is really cool with the V8. But I think that the biggest benefit of V8s in today's world is the power delivery rather than the sound. And my thought process is, if you really do want more sound, just get an exhaust on your car. The power delivery that V8s provide is so good, and as much as I love a supercharged V8, the biggest deficit with this is elevation. We are at, like, this part of Utah is like, it's a bit above 4,000 feet above sea level. But like when I drive around Utah, I regularly go to about 7,000 feet above sea level. Right, it's kind of like the Park City area, and you feel the power loss in an NA V8 and a supercharged V8 a massive amount. And so this, actually, compared to the inline 6 here in Utah, doesn't feel that good. Now, if you're at sea level, I think this engine would feel a lot more punchy. But at a high elevation place like this, when I drive this and then I go and drive the 3-liter inline 6, I feel like all I'm getting is more sound. I'm not getting more acceleration, really. Like, maybe a little bit more on the top end, but it's not as much as you'd think. And when it comes to like the just daily driving experience, I think the inline six is actually better because you get better fuel economy and it's so smooth. So I love the V8, but I'm honestly not sad to see it go. So I think for those of you that like have to have the sound and everything, yeah, go and get one. But I mean, as bad as this sounds, like the one that I really like is the previous gen Range Rover Sport SVR. Crazy car, you know, pretty firm for a luxury car, but like that thing just, it's aggressive. It sounds aggressive. It's got almost 600 horsepower. That one in my mind is like the really cool one with the 5.0 V8. These V8 Defenders, when they first came out with it, I thought it was really cool. But now that they've got the twin turbo V8 throughout the Land Rover lineup, well, not throughout the whole thing, but in a lot of cars, I like that one more. I'm just like, BMW is so good at making engines. So, yeah, this is a great engine. Reliable, it sounds good, it does drive exceptionally well. But, you know, I'm not too sad. I'm okay with either the inline 6 or the twin turbo 4.4. So that is the big bad boy V8 Defender. Man, it did get expensive. 132 grand for a loaded up one. Still less expensive than a G-Wagon though. A base model G550 starts at 150 roughly. And when you actually see dealer spec ones, they're usually about 160. So this is still 30 grand less than what you'll see with a typical inline 6 G-Wagon, not even a V8.